next time, you keep it on the road.
Final round of the 2006 Sasol SA Rally Championship. No less than 12 titles, still looking for new owners. The biggest prize still up for grabs were the SA Co-Drivers Championship, where Guy Hodgson was the strongest contender, and the SA Production Car title, where Nicholas Ryan was all but home and dry. Other titles in dispute were classes A7, A6 and N2 for both drivers and co-drivers. 14 stages made up the 2006 Tzaneen Rally route, 5 on Friday totaling just 73 kilometers. The other 8 stages were set to provide another 141 kilometers of hot-paced action on Saturday. Tzaneen is thought to derive its name from the Sotho word Tzaneen, meaning the place where people gather. The soil and climate allow a wide variety of crops to flourish. Subtropical and citrus fruits, tea, timber, winter veggies and carnations are some of the crops supplied from the region. It was founded in 1909 and today is a bustling town serving the wider tourism and farming industries. The spectacular Debegeni Falls, Majaji Rainforest and Makudas Kloof attract visitors to the area all year round. After 7 events, the honours were evenly spread between the beefy Volkswagen pilots of newly crowned champion Enzo Keen and co-driver Guy Hodgson and the outgoing champions Jannie Habich and Douglas Judd. Each had 3 wins. After looking like they were going to remain winless for the first time since 1985, Sir Damso, Robert Paisley and the Castrol Toyota team came good on the Subaru Cape Rally last month. Enzo Keen was already crowned the overall champion and led Class S2000. Chris de Witt and Patrick Yendi had already retained their Class N3 championship. Michael Houghton and Bryn Doherty also successfully defended their A5 titles. 53 teams made the trek to Limpopo province, including 2 visiting teams from Zimbabwe. As final preparations got underway, the mercury soared to the mid-30s.
The strategy will unfold during the event. We obviously would like to have Guy Hodgson also win the championship alongside me. I think to start off with, we really need to be cautious. We only need a point, which equates to 19th position. If any of the other crews retire, you know, then it opens it up altogether. Then we don't even need to finish. So, yes, I would have liked to give it a bit of a go here at the end. I've been very cautious the whole year, and I've really had to drive calculated events. But that's good. It's good. Discipline, you know.
For Guy, this was an important event.
Got to finish. You know, it's a bit difficult. I feel conscious of Enzo because he's the champion, so he wants to go and win the rally. He's got nothing to lose, whereas I actually really need 1 point. So a little bit of a conflict in the car. So I think 3 or 4 Ks into the first stage, I'll tell you how fast he's going or how slowly he's going.
But Serge was going to go fast.
You know, the championship is basically tied up, so it's a bit of a difficult event, you know. Not much to go, maybe to win the rally, basically. But that, we'll take it as it comes, you know. This is a very difficult rally. It's hard on the cars, and then, of course, there's no room for mistakes. So you could take a corner off or anything, you know, quite easy.
One other co-driver was in with a mathematical shot of the championship.
For Serge and Jannie, it's a case of just flat out and see where the cards fall. I think for Enzo, he's particularly keen for Guy to win the championship, so I think he'll most probably take it a bit more conservatively.
Jannie Habich is always consistent in his approach.
Yeah, you know, we'll attack this event like we normally do. You know, try to go out there, do our best, stay out of trouble, and yeah, go as quickly as possible. This is a notoriously tricky event. There are lots of places that can catch you, so I think one has to be a bit careful, because to go flat out from the beginning, you will get caught somewhere. And you know, tomorrow is a long day, and I think the meat of the rally is really tomorrow. So I think it's important to get a good position for today, and then tomorrow you can go a little bit faster.
Etienne Lorenz had an eye on finishing the year second in the championship standings.
I'm not sure how to approach this event yet. It will be nice to win, but you don't want to come 4th or 5th in the championship. So at this point in time, we're lying 3rd, and if you want to hold it there, I don't know. You know, it's difficult. But I'd like to go. We'll see how the pace is now, and then maybe a team attack it and go for a win. Yeah. Paul Ergen's got nothing to lose. Serge's got nothing to lose. He's 10 points behind me. I've got Nicholas Ryan 5 points behind me. So if I go bananas and I bugger it up, then I could lose 3rd place. But you know, the cherry's been taken, and we don't really worry about the rest.
For Nicholas Ryan, there was much at stake.
We need 1 point. However, we want to win the N4 if possible to have the 60 on the car for next year. So we have to come second in class. So it still has to go. You can't lose concentration and slow down.
Too slow would open the door for Johnny Gemmell.
This one's the last one of the season, and just a few points between us for the class championship, so we're going to go, I think. Very close. Nicholas is only ahead of us by maybe 3-4 points. He's just got to finish 3 positions behind us in the class, and we can win the class championship. So that's what our aim is this weekend.
Fernando Rueda wasn't about to give him an inch.
It's a long rally, it's very tight. I think it'll be good, I hope. And, you know, Johnny's a very hard man to beat. But we're going to give it our best. We'll just have to give it some horn. The roads are some very tight, some look very slippery. But, you know, it's a rally. You know, it changes 10 times in one stage, so we're all kind of used to it by now.
Damso was drawn first on the road thanks to his better seeding ahead of Kuhn and Hubby. At 11 o'clock, Damso set off for stage 1, a gentle 10.4 kilometre of road never used before. Located on the Mujaji Road, 12 kilometres from Tzaneen, the stage had a hard, gravelly surface and plenty of dust. It weaved its way through dense forest before crisscrossing a fast open section of deforested plantation with lots of dangerous tree stumps on the edge of the road. In the Volkswagen camp, there were differing opinions about tyre choice.
I think this event is just so tough and so long that we don't need to worry about stage wins. You know, the strategy for this event is to get to the end. It's a tough event, and stage times and tyre choice and that, I think, is just almost irrelevant on this event. It's not a sprint.
We tested yesterday, and the surface is very loose on the surface but hard underneath, so it makes it very slippery. I think tyre choices will have an influence on this one.
Jan Havik and Douglas Judd were quickly up to speed, looking mighty impressive in their BP Volkswagen Polo. Ergen Fecken and Pierre Aries were also on song after a difficult first year in S2000. So Damso and Pierre Aries were the quickest in their Castrol Toyota Runex. Sol Volken and Greg Godrich had the hammer down in their A7 Castrol Runex and beat Damso by 1 second. Enzo Kuhn and Guy Hodgson settled in for a long, hot afternoon. Gemmell and Peter Marsh were flying, with the N4 Championship tantalizingly close. The surprise first stage winners were Etienne Lawrence and Andre Vermeulen in their team total Toyota Runex. We go in car with the fastest man on the stage. Watch how busy Lawrence is with the sequential gearbox and using the handbrake for those really tight turns. Overshot and dropped a few seconds to the flying Gemmell. Adrian Karth and Des de Fortier had to do a 3-point turn. More time lost. Eric Storbeck was coming for the cameraman, but got it all stopped in time. That looks like a terminally ill polo player. Mohamed Musa got warned of the obstacle ahead. An oil trail under a car is never good news. Rueda was battling to turn the big, cumbersome Lancer through the tighter sections. Vulcan had a 5-point championship lead over his rival and drew first blood in the intense Class A7 championship fight. Jean-Pierre Damso was already fighting a rearguard action after he dropped 13 seconds. Barry Krobela and Mike Burrows were hanging on to the class leaders in their Sasol Volkswagen Golf. Karth and de Fortier were driving hard to make up for their earlier time loss in the forest. John and Douglas Williams were in for a very long day with a persistent misfire in their Volkswagen Polo. Tony Ball beat his Volkswagen Golf and lost 17 minutes. This was the situation after the first stage. no break before stage 2, and already we had lost 5 teams. A more challenging 8.2 kilometers lay in wait to wreak havoc. Forested mountains, contours, grassy tracks, hidden sump rocks and rough sections, triangle forests had it all. The engine notes of the S2000 cars reverberated off the mountains as they continued to suss out the pace. Habik lost out by 25 seconds to the on-form Charles Vulcan, showing how fast an A7 car can be. Dancer was only 2 seconds quicker than Vulcan. Dean was picking up the pace and banged in the 3rd quickest time. Second was enjoying his rally and beat the new champion by 9 seconds. But this man was on a mission. Lawrence set another fastest time, or so he thought. Johnny Gemmell put in a stunning time to beat the field of S2000 cars in his Chasseul Mitsubishi 5 seconds faster than the total Toyota. Nicholas Ryan and Scott van Heerden were holding down second in class N4 according to plan. For the creepy crawly Subaru Impreza pair of Peter du Plessis and Dave Lefkowitz, it was not a good start. The left front shock absorber mounting broke and emergency repairs had to be carried out. The team total rally chicks, Lola and Megan Verlaat, were well on their way in the Subaru. Zimbabweans Craig Green and Mike Exton were cajoled into making the trip and beat Lola by 5 seconds. Sali de Troy and Gert van Rensburg were back in action in a brand new Team Total Subaru after their old car was gutted on the Osram Rally 2 months ago. Troy had to set up his car after it was completed the day before the rally and had never driven it until stage 1. It wasn't only the weather that was hot in Tzaneen.
Yeah, the pace is hot up front. I think we've got a bit small of advantage of driving 6 on the road at the moment. You can see a clear line as it's open, so it is an advantage at the moment. That's why I think we're all more or less on the same pace, but it is worth half a second or something, okay.
Jan Habek's technicians had a lot of work to do.
The guys are trying hard, and so are we. We were a bit lucky. We went very wide, and there was a big rock, and we drove over the rock, and it bent a couple of suspension arms. But fortunately, we got out, and the guys are busy fixing it.
But Charles Vulcan was all smiles.
It seems we caught the guys napping on the first stage again, so that's good. No, the pace match is working well. Greg's doing a good job, and the car feels great. So, you know, hopefully we keep this pace up. This rally, you need to clock it at the last, you know, service park to make sure you're at the end. Before that, nothing's guaranteed.
The Williams rally team also had their work cut out for them. Computers mean obscure electrical problems.
In the class we run, the car is very modified, so there's always little bits and pieces. We had a shakedown yesterday, and we found a bit of a misfire. We found 1 or 2 plugs that seemed to be faulty. We changed that. On the smooth stuff, the car seemed to be okay. And as soon as we started the stage this morning, on the rough stuff, there's a misfire under load. They're having another look at it and see if it's actually the computer, and hopefully they can sort it out and we can get going again. Last year we had to finish second, and I think on the second last stage we had a problem with the gearbox and ended at the end of the rally and the championship. So yeah, that's it. You know, it's the same old story. It's not over till the fat lady sings.
Du Plessis' team was still working on the broken shock absorber and taking precautions to make sure it didn't punch a hole through the bonnet. It was calm in the Castrol Toyota camp with not much activity taking place.
It's a long event, and as I said, this is a very difficult event. You know, you think you got everything, but there's too many things around to eat.
20 minutes at the Kiet Forest Station Service Park, the crews headed to the top of Makuba's Kloof Pass for stage 3.